Shallow focus directly guides the eye and exhibits the depth of an environment in an explicit way. The effect isolates the subject and can create a sense of mystery. Like shadow in lighting, shallow focus is about what you don't show. Shallow focus is more subjective than deep focus. There's clarity as to who the protagonist of the shot is. It's a technique well suited to character studies rather than ensemble pieces. From its opening shot, Spike Jonze's Her depicts a character disconnected from the world around him, lost in emotional purgatory. Cinematographer Hoyte van Hoytema uses shallow depth of field to separate Theodore from the environment, as though he doesn't belong there. When Theodore accepts that he may need to find happiness in alternative ways, the world opens up to him, and the depth of field increases. Oppenheimer, also shot by Van Hoytema, has a narrow depth of field aesthetic throughout. This is taken to the extreme when the protagonist imagines the devastating outcomes of his research, fearing the world disappearing around him. Shallow focus can also portray desire and the sense of all else paling in comparison. In Buffalo 66, shot by Lance Ancord, two characters go bowling together. Their surroundings become blurred and unimportant. Instead, they're fixated on each other. It's almost tongue-in-cheek at times, a playful way of using depth of field. Shot by Rodrigo Prieto, Brokeback Mountain portrays forbidden attraction through narrow depth of field. The character in the foreground knows he can't follow his desire, so the audience isn't allowed to see the background. Shallow focus can be used to differentiate states of consciousness and timelines, particularly with flashbacks. Cinematographer Bradford Young played on audience expectations of time in Arrival. Supposed flashbacks are shot with incredibly narrow depth of field and drifting handheld camera. They become dreamlike and idealistic. Later events show that these are instead premonitions. The reveal only works because of the audience's assumption of how narrow focus is being used. Arrival cinematography reflects the protagonist's perspective throughout. When first entering the unfamiliar environment of the spacecraft, her irrational fears are reflected via shallow focus. Her uncertainty about the surroundings is passed onto the audience.